Yes, y'all. What it do, party peoples? Your man Big Pee Wee. We up in the building, man, on this hot day. Appreciate y'all tapping in. As always, we do officially confessions every Wednesday, Saturday night, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, we always try to bring you, a good episode, try to bring you good content every single week, man. Um, So do me a favor. Get on your Ubers, get on your lifts, tap in, let everybody know that officially confessions, we are live. Get your DMs on, DM all your folks, let them know official confessions in the building. As always, just two dudes having barbershop talk, everything underneath the sun from relationships to dating to sex, you name it. We talk about it here on Confessions. Tonight, Doc is not going to be with us. So I brought in one of my special guest, one of my good friends, Juan Fuego. I call him Juan Fuego. That's what I call him, Juan Fuego. So he's gonna join us tonight, man. Tonight we're gonna sit down. We're gonna talk about marriage. We're gonna talk about our kids, and we're gonna talk about things that you should have at least in order, especially in this day and time with everything kind of going on. Have you, tap in and talk about the things that you should have in place, as this thing we call life that we going through and all these shenanigans that's happening in this world, man. We got to make sure that we looking out for ourselves, and we gonna talk about it tonight. So again, welcome to Official Confessions. If this is your very first time, welcome. Um, as I said earlier, we do get down every Wednesday and Saturday night, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are live right now on YouTube, Twitch, and IG Live. Please like, follow, share Officially Confessions. Ladies and gents, if you can, please make some noise. Give it up for my boy, Juan Fuego in the building.
Hey,
What up, Juan Fuego?
hey man, I'm just happy to be here, brother. You know how
Yeah. Man, I'm glad that you are here, bro. That is one thing I am glad that you are here. Um, First and foremost, introduce yourself for the Officially Confessions fam. Let them know like who you are, what you do, and everything.
I'm just a normal guy, bro. Um, you know, uh, I'm an IT manager for United Health Group, and just living life, man. Trying to make things happen and make life happen for myself and my family. That's about it, right? I'm straightforward, straight shooter. You
That
know
you
what I
are.
mean? I don't hold no things back. So yeah, I'm just here, man, to be a help as much as I can.
Man, and I'm glad that you're here, Juan. So again, ladies and gents, tonight Doc is not going to be with us, so I asked my man Juan to tap in tonight, and we just gonna have, as we always do here on Confession, we call it barbershop talk. We just gonna sit
Okay.
around, chop it up, and just talk about stuff. Um, for some of you guys don't know, Juan just said, he's a family guy. Um, Juan is married. How long have you been married, Juan?
Uh, Officially 30 years, working on 31 right now.
31 years officially married, but you've known your wife for how long?
Well, I got a cougar, and she don't like for me to say that. Right? She's 8 months older than me. And for everybody who don't know my story, right? We grew up in the church together. And the story is her mother, while my mother was pregnant, rubbed my mother's stomach and said that this was going to be her daughter's husband. So she's known me before I've known myself.
Wow.
So
Right.
it's pretty peculiar, right? So yeah, we've been knowing each other. Me and Kim have been friends all our life.
Right.
That,
Right.
that's all I can say. Me and Kim are able to talk about anything, discuss anything, and just have conversations about anything, point blank. Period. So yeah,
Um,
that's my friend.
Kim G818 is in the building. Thank you for tapping in, Kim. Um, so here's my question for you, uh,
Mhm.
Juan. And we're gonna talk about we're gonna start off, we're gonna talk about, marriage first.
Okay.
Um, you've known your wife, like you said, from jump. You guys grew up in the church together or whatnot. How
Mhm.
did you know that this was gonna be your person? What was it about Kim and his
Yeah.
wife, ladies and gents? Her name is Kim. What was it about Kim that you knew that she was going to be like your forever? What was the qualities? What were the things? What was it that made Juan say, "Hey, like even though you've known her for years, what was it about her?" Because granted, throughout your life, you've known a lot of women.
Yeah.
You come in contact with a lot of women. We
Yeah.
all have, men and women. That's
Yeah.
just part of our life journey, right?
Right.
What was it about Kim that made you say that?
So let me preface the whole conversation like this. I'm no professional. What I'm gonna say and discuss here in this platform is just my personal experience, right? And it doesn't work for everybody. Um, Kim and I, um, well, you asked what made me know it was her. I'm a leg guy, right? I'm a leg guy, right? And the most sexiest thing to me is a woman in heels with that dress right, either below or above her knees. But if you wearing them heels right, and especially some slingbacks, oh, and my wife got pretty feet. I'm a feet guy, right? So I was hooked from that, right? But Kim has always been my friend. We have been able to talk about things. We've been able to just whatever. We can go to a gathering, a party, or whatever, and you'll find us in a corner just to ourselves talking. Da, 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 da. And that's just how we've always been. Um, what really, I guess, sealed the deal for me, um, I didn't always treat her right and fairly. I was a nigga. I was doing my thing. But she stood by me. She um, got through all of that. When I was dealing with some insecurities that I had, I was a very heavy guy. My biggest weight was 375 pounds, right? She never judged me for that. She never, all of that stuff that comes with that, never was that, never judged where I come from a broken home. Our backgrounds are different. She comes from a home where her mother and father was together all their lives. I come from a broken home. I come from domestic violence in the home. um, those are things that she never dealt with, right? And so for us to have those kind of conversations and deal with those kind of things and talk about those kind of things, um, um, it was just refreshing to me. I was out there, bro. When I was young, I was out there. I was going to the clubs. I was going to the strip clubs. Like Tuesday through Saturday was our days. Me and my boys, we was going, right? Barbary Coast was our spot, right? Um, and it got to a point where I didn't want to go no more. All of my free time, I wanted to spend with her. And when I decided that I was gonna ask her for her hand in marriage, my boys wasn't having it. They was like on me, right? But that just wasn't the place that I was at that point in that time in my life, right? And I knew that I didn't want her to slip through my hands, right? I didn't want her to like, and I was doing my thing, like I said, out there in the world or whatever. But they wasn't. it just wasn't fulfilling, right? And everything that I wanted, everything that I needed, everything that soothed me came from her.
But
And
how did you know that these were the things that she was doing for you? Because, and the reason why I ask this question is
Mhm,
because, like you said, you was out here, you was doing your thing.
mhm,
Most of us that's out here in the single life, that's just out here
mhm,
doing our thing, we trying to figure it out.
right,
And half the time, people that we meet, um, we may give them an opportunity, but then it's something in there be like, I'm too tired to go out tonight, or I just rather this, or you come up with excuses not to go out with somebody or
right.
whatnot, right?
Well,
But for whatever reason, you kind of knew that.
yeah. Again, I think our background played a big part in it. I knew who she was. I knew what she was about. I knew her makeup, right? I knew the ex-boyfriends that she had. I knew all of that, right? I knew who she caught herself dating, liking. You know what I mean?
Fully.
Yeah. You know, a funny story, bro. She was having a little birthday party or whatever at her house, and went over or whatever, and this dude that she was called herself dating gonna try to take out the trash. Dude, you don't take out the fucking trash of my girl. Like yeah. So it was a big thing, right? So it's here's the thing, right? For us as men, it's you have to have a I don't know what the word is, but you have to have an understanding, right? When you're dealing with women out in the world or whatever, they've been with whomever and whatever, right? You don't know the background. So for me, I knew her background, right? I knew the innuendos of that. My things that done and was doing at that time was way more vast than what she was doing, right?
Gotcha.
So I didn't want those other girls wasn't virtuous enough. Better word, virtuous enough for me, right? And I knew her background. I knew what she was about. I knew what, and that's what did it for me. This is the fit. These other women that I was messing with and stuff like that. If I would have the conversations that I was having with her with them, it was almost like a turnoff. Like I'll never forget, bro. 12th grade, one of the finest girls in my school. I was dealing with her. I kind of and I would have to really go into the background to tell you guys all about that. But I moved to a different school in my 12th grade, so I was the new booty on the block. Right? Everybody wanted to kind of like, okay, well, he ain't never been around here. Da, 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 da. Finest girl at the school. But I was living in an apartment with my mom and my sister at the time, and she was kind of like high society, highfalutin, right? She's lived in a home and all like that, right? She was, uppity. And her and her friend, which was a good friend of mine that kind of hooked us up, came over to the house. And here's the funny thing, right? I didn't even realize that she was like, oh, this is where you live. It didn't dawn on me until time later that she was putting me down for that.
Mm.
Kim never did that. It didn't matter where I lived. It didn't matter what I drove. None of that mattered to her. Right. So that was like the thing that like she cares about me for me and who I am and how I am and the person I am versus what I can do or any of that.
But here's the question that I'm trying to get though, Juan,
Mhm.
because I'm just gonna take it like you did not know. Like, just say for instance, in your 20s, what you wanted, in your
Mhm.
30s, what you wanted. You were still trying to figure out life, right?
Well, not in the 30s because I got married at 25.
Oh, okay. So Okay, so let's say your early 30s. I mean early 20s, my bad.
Okay.
Your early 20s.
Okay.
You were still at some point trying to figure it out.
Yes.
Um, in that piece of trying to figure it out, like how did you know, like, you know what? Like this is the one. Like I'm mature enough for it to click to say this is the one. And I know that this is the one and I don't want her to get away. Like so explain it to me as if like and Greg is up in the building. Shout out to G. He's on IG right now. Like if you was explaining it to us and we came to you and said, "Man, Juan, I got this. I got these two young ladies that I'm dating.
Hmm.
I'm not for sure."
Hmm.
What would you tell me on trying to figure out which one you would think or the best advice to give me on who would be best fit?
Well, that all comes down to where you are in your journey, right? I got to a point where it mattered who cared about me and what was going on with me. And all the stuff that I was doing, I dogged her out. I dogged her out big time. And she still hung in there. So to me, that meant she really cared. She really was concerned about me or had that feeling for me. And that's what it was. If I'd have done that to anybody else, they'd have been gone.
Right, right.
Right. So now I say to myself, okay, if she gonna stay when I'm doing all of this, right? Then turn around and I gotta be 100% transparent. She we were supposed to be together and she started messing around with somebody else. Oh, heartbroken. Heartbroken.
Absolutely.
This was like in August of that year, and we were out of town or whatever, and I found out about it or whatever. And I said to myself, when I get home, if I can't win on my home turf, I can't win.
So that was
We
the
got
light bulb that went off.
She can do it just like me, right? Now I feel probably what I have been putting her through. So that was in August. We got engaged in December of that same year. So that was the clicking thing to me was you ain't the only one that can do it. Okay, I dealt with this for all this time. Now here I am.
So Fat and Sweet on Twitch in the chat says most men would take advantage of a woman that sticks around through the bad.
And
So
I
that
did.
is a good question.
And
You
I did.
know,
I did. I did. 100%. I took advantage 100% until it got slapped in my face. And that was the realization of, okay, okay, what you gonna do?
yeah.
What is it really you gonna do? You gonna and it comes down to really, in my mind, compatibility, right? I could have easily walked away, but
Right. No doubt. No
would I
doubt.
have would I have been where I am now, or would I have been happy at the end of the day? I don't know the answer to that because I made the decision of, again, knowing who she was, how she was raised, and all of that. And don't get me wrong, right? Um, Her raising versus my raising was totally different. Even when we got married and all of that stuff, there was conflict and all of that because she was raised a certain way. I was raised a certain way. When we had started having kids, our our values of how things should go was totally different. She was an only child, spoiled, rotten. Um, used to having and getting everything she wanted. So she felt like the kids should getting everything she wanted. I come from a very big family where, um, on Christmas and things like that, everybody gives the kids gifts and things like that. So my thing is, let's see what they get versus what we have to go and get. But that wasn't her thing. Her thing was when she was growing up, her dad gave her the J.C. Penney book and said, pick what you want.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So there was kind of conflicts. There was conflicts in how we chastise the kids. Yeah. So it's growing. It takes a lot of compromise, and if you're not willing to compromise, if you're not willing to give in and work at meeting a happy medium, it's going to be a problem.
So, I'm gonna take it a step further.
Okay.
Okay. Real quick, welcome, ladies and gents. If you're just joining us, this is your very first time tapping in. We are officially Confessions. I'll be your man, Big Pee Wee. My man Doc is not in tonight, so I got special guest Juan Fuego in the building. And we do this every Wednesday and Saturday night, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're live right now on YouTube, IG Live, and also Twitch. So everybody that's joining us, thank you so much. Please like, follow, share Officially Confessions. So Juan, let me ask you this. I'm gonna take it a step further, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna kind of go off of what Fat and Sweet said in the chat. Said they would hold that against you, right? Most men or women would take advantage of the situation, like you said you did until that light bulb went off, right? And you was like, oh no, I gotta pull this together. So here's the question I got for you. One, you have two kids.
Yes.
You got a son and a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If your daughter came to you in same situation, same scenario that you saw it, that the dude that she was dating, you was like, oh man, he's taking advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
What is that conversation like with your daughter?
So a great question, right? And keeping it 100. I've always kept it 100 with my daughter. I've told my kids. So because I've come from a background of domestic violence in the house, I've made up in my mind that I'll never put my hands on my wife. And I've told her if it ever comes to that point, we don't belong together. That's number one. Number two, I think my kids have seen an argument between me and my wife maybe one time, and I told her that'll never happen again. So the problem is my kids now have a thought in their mind that things are supposed to be a certain way, right? So with my daughter, I've always, to this point, I think it's been now maybe 15 years straight that I've given my daughter flowers on Valentine's, regardless if she had a boyfriend, a dude in her life, or whatever. We recently moved to Houston where my daughter is, and I asked my wife this past Valentine's, says, and then she got a little boyfriend, and I said, listen, now that she has a boyfriend, am I supposed to still give her flowers? She was like, yes. You still do that, right? When my daughter was growing up, we would go on dates. I would take my daughter to dinner. I'm an open book. I'm an open vessel to my kids. I think that's very important because if they don't hear it from you, who are they going to hear it from?
Right.
I'll tell you a situation with my daughter. She was in middle school and she was liking this dude. And she said, he got this little girlfriend. I said, let me tell you something. He's going to keep both of y'all or try and talk to both of y'all as long as he can. When you go to school tomorrow and his friends, he's sending friends up to you, say, hey, how you doing? Or you ain't talking to such and such. He needs to deal with his girlfriend. Because if you don't nip it in the bud, if you don't make him make a decision, he's going to keep both of y'all. Right?
No doubt.
A couple of days go by And I say, hey, what happened with such and oh, Dad, I don't want to talk about it. No, no, what happened? She was like, oh, he broke up with her or whatever. I said, you know why? You made him make a decision. I told my daughter from I guess maybe 11, 12 years old, listen, you are in control of everything. A dude is only trying to get in your panties. And if you allow him,
That's the
he
truth.
will. Don't sit up here and talk, let him say, oh, I just want to put the head in. Because once we get the head in,
We're gonna
that's
try
it.
to put the rest of it in.
There you go. I've kept it 100 with my daughter because I don't want her to hear it or get an idea from anywhere else of how it is. Now I've created a monster because my daughter is now 29
Damn,
and
I didn't know she was 29. Jeez Louise.
bro, 29. And to this day, she will say, well, if you don't, my dad will. You can't do that. You
Yeah,
have
you can't tell that to a
and,
child.
and here's what I've told her. What you see from me, this is not where I started. I had to grow to this and where I am and how I am and how I treat your mom and how you see I treat your mom. Give him a chance to grow to that, right? And that's I keep it 100, man. I keep it 100.
So Fan Sweet in the chat says, what would be your advice to be when it's enough? How much do you put up with before you give up?
In what context? What are we talking about?
I think she's talking about like when we were talking about earlier of like you taking advantage of someone. It's like what would be your advice to be when it's enough? How much do you put up with before giving up?
Okay.
I think that's where what the question
In,
stems
in
from.
that in that aspect in my mind, how much do you care really about that person? How much do you really know about them? You got to know somebody, whoever you're with. You got to know them. You got to know what they're about. Um, it may not always go down that same path of what you think it may be, because there's going to be some roads, there's going to be some bumps in the roads, there's going to be all of that. We've had some bumps in the road, but I know at the core who she was and what she was about. I knew she had my back. Even when I was wrong, she'll have my back. But when we get home, Juan, in this situation, such, right? And that's what you have to get to. You have to have that connection with whomever you're with. You know,
I mean, and I hear you, Juan. I hear you. I
right?
do hear you on that. And I think it is a beautiful thing if you can have that connection with your significant other, right? Um, but you do have people that are out here that is either in a marriage or in a relationship or dating somebody that they can't be honest like that. They can't keep it a buck around that person is because that person may get upset, their feelings may get hurt, and I get it. It's
Right.
all how you say it,
Right.
but still on how you say it, they could still get upset. They could still have their feelings hurt. So
Yeah.
then my question to be like, how do you massage that situation? Should you massage that situation? Is this person really for you? If you can't keep it real with them,
You got to know the person. It's an in-depth thing. It's an in-depth thing, and you have to get to that point where you know who you're dealing with. You got to know what Kim know what push my buttons. She know when to. Okay, that's enough. She know, and I know for her. Okay, I need to say this in this way because right, you got to know the person. You got to get interpersonal and really in depth with the person. A lot of times people get with people, the sex is good, they treat them right. Here's my biggest thing, right? Watch this. And this is gonna hit you. A lot of women want the dope dealer advantages, but don't want the ass whooping that comes with it.
I mean,
Right?
I
You
I
want the
hear that.
money, you want everything that they give you, you want the lifestyle, you want, oh yeah, my man do this, my man do that. But as soon as you crossing, what happens? You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that part.
I hear you. And because in this digital age right now, and I think we've all seen it on social media at some point that some women, not all, some,
Mhm.
I want this high value man, right? I want this guy that can do this, that, and the other to be able to afford my lifestyle, right? But not knowing what comes with that. And it was funny because I just had this conversation earlier today with my best friend. Um, that like you have women, and again, we've seen it on social media, whatever.
Mhm.
You may even have a friend that feels the same exact way, right? But
Mhm.
not understanding what that comes with. If this dude is, and you guys, and I'm saying you guys are in a relationship or marriage, right? He's
Mhm.
paying all the bills like you want. You are a stay at home wife, right?
Mhm.
Understanding what that comes with. And a lot of women, I don't think, understand what that comes with, is because the mentality is he's doing all of this, but you really don't know. And I think it goes back to what you just said of knowing your partner, right?
Mhm.
Because you may run into somebody that's like, look, when I get home, I want this house clean. I want food on this table. I want like this whole entire house needs to be spick and span, like needs to be clean, right? But
Mhm.
then you have someone be like, hey, look here. I ain't no slave. I'm not, you know, picking up your drawers off the floor. You're a grown ass man. You got, but you still had that mentality, but you want the other thing. So I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
I get what you're saying. I think in this day and age, I don't think a lot of women understand what it takes to ask for that.
Well, here's the thing, right? And you'll hear this a lot from men who'll say, "Well, what are you bringing to the table?" Well, I
Right.
am the table. How? Like what? What do you do for me? And men, for the most part, are very simple. Very simple. It doesn't take much, right? But what are you doing? I'm sitting up here paying all the bills. I'm taking care of everything. You fine as all get out. You know how many other fine women out there? And do you know how many women who see what he's doing for you want to take your place? And all they feel is, or in their mind is, oh, she ain't doing X, Y, Z. I can do that and I can get him. And most of the time, it can happen because women don't understand that you got to do your part. It's not enough. It's not enough to just, bro, let me tell you something. Very rarely does Kim wash my clothes. I'm self sufficient. I don't need that. I don't need her to iron my shirts when I'm getting ready to go. I don't need that. That's not a requirement of me,
Right.
right? I do things for her because I care for her and I love her, right? Um, Fuck me and feed me.
Simple, right?
Fuck me and feed me.
But you got to add another piece to that puzzle, though. You need peace.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You need,
Bro, if I come home and I'm frustrated about whatever, First of all, she'll see it on my face. She'll know. She was, what's wrong? What is it? She'll listen. I'll tell her da 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 da, and she's that common voice. And that's the you're absolutely right. That's the other part. I get enough of that outside the four walls of this house. I don't need it when I come here. Do we get along with everything? Am I always liking her and what she no. No.
Yeah, that's not.
Is she always liking me and what I no.
Yeah, that's not
It's that's just not
life.
reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I will do some things that she like, it will piss her off. Will she say something about it? Maybe not. But eventually she'll like, when you did such and such and such, you got to know your person. You got to know who you're dealing with. It's a compatibility thing. And just because a motherfucker putting down the D, he probably putting it down the D with somebody else too.
I don't know.
I mean, it's if you in the dating world, if you're
in the dating world, then yes, you have to assume that is happening.
Yes.
If you're in the dating world, yes.
Yeah. Now, if you're exclusive, unless he's really, really good, there'll be some signs.
So, okay, so two things real quick. Real quick, because I'm gonna come back to that part too.
Okay.
So the first one is saying like the peace. You go to work, we deal with everything outside of the home. Certain days things get stressful. For you, even for her. If she works and stuff like that, she's dealing with obstacles at work too, daily stuff too. And you have to be her peace as well as her being your peace. So I just want to make sure I put that piece in there too. Just because I know we have a lot of women that's in the chat. And it's not just about the man's piece. It's about the woman's piece too. So I just want to make sure I put that in.
No, it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. This when you get into a relationship, so we're not talking dating. We're not talking getting to know each other, right? We're talking about relationships. When you're in a relationship with somebody, and really, I'm talking from the point of exclusive relationship. You have to be there for your partner, just like you expect them to be there for you. Do I want to hear what happened and all? Not all the time, but I'm attentive. I listen. If it's bothering her, I have to be that sounding board for her, so she can get it off of her chest. I can give her my opinion. She may not even like my opinion, but it's a perspective. Right. It's a perspective, right? Have you ever thought about it this way? Maybe it's this way, right? And that's just a dialogue. It's just something to open up and to be there for each other. It comes down to compatibility. And if you're not compatible, you're always going to have problems. Money don't solve everything.
Right.
Sex don't solve everything.
Facts.
It just don't.
Facts. Carrie Jess said, what did she say? Kind of going back real quick. Do you ever have grown women on the show? Sincerely, Carrie Jess, yes, we do. Most of the women that's even in the chat are grown women. We talk. This is kind of like barbershop talk.
Yeah, I think she's talking about like I'm on here now. Would you have a grown woman on here giving her perspective? So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've had women come on to the show, and we have these combos. Right. So yeah, no, most definitely. So the second thing I was gonna say, you said if you're exclusive and he's putting it down, and if he did have somebody on the side, you wouldn't know it unless he slips up. And I think that is a big piece to the puzzle, Juan. And it's just my point of view. I think that a lot of people do not have conversations with the person that they're exclusive with.
Mhm.
I think it's surface conversation,
Or
right?
assume.
Right. It's not like I'm getting, because now you've done the dating piece, right? And you've gotten the opportunity to kind of know the person that you're dealing with. You finally said yes to the relationship. Now you guys are exclusive. I think in there now is these real questions about background, about and I just literally just had this conversation with my boy the other day, right? He
Mhm.
met a young lady and they were dating for like almost 7 months. They were dating, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
He already got like 3 kids.
Mhm.
Oh, girl don't have no kids.
Mhm.
He don't want no more kids, but
Mhm.
she want kids.
Mhm.
Homie, you guys should have talked about that
Right.
in the beginning. You
Right.
didn't let 7 months pass and didn't have this conversation. So that's what I'm saying. Like asking these real questions. I mean, it ain't supposed to be like an interview, like drilling them interview, but you need to ask the questions, of what makes you tick.
And not only that, right? Here's a big thing that I think women need to understand. In your mind, when you've been dealing with a person for 3, 4 months exclusively, in your mind, you're exclusive. Have you had that conversation about being exclusive? Because until we say we're exclusive,
We're
until
not
you hear it
exclusive.
coming out of my mouth, we're not exclusive. I haven't
No,
made
I
that,
agree.
right? And that's an assumption that I think that a lot of women have, right? And for guys, I'm probably gonna get hated on for this. We take advantage of that, right? Yeah, I know I'm the only one that's
Some do,
hitting.
absolutely.
Yeah, I know I'm the only one that's hitting this, but I'm still doing my thing on the side because I haven't said XYZ.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Women have to be very specific about what it is they want and what it is they're expecting from this guy. And until you hear that from them, you haven't
Yeah.
nailed me down to nothing.
In fact, Sweet said it in the chat. You have to be able to communicate about anything, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I agree. You know, I think I am like you, Juan. I'm a straight shooter too. You ask me a question, more than likely you're gonna get an answer. My
Okay.
delivery may be a little off on how you get the answer.
Right.
You may want it to be, a certain kind of way, but I only know how to answer my way.
Right.
Um, and if you've been on the show before, if you've watched Confessions, no, I'm single. Um, but this is the thing. I don't think you know. No, you heard about this, Juan. I think we've talked about this, or we've had the discussion
Okay.
in our circle of powwows.
Okay.
But the polyamorous life.
Okay.
No, you wasn't in this conversation.
No.
Oh, I thought you. So
No.
so short background, ladies and gents. Like I've known Juan for a very long time. We have, his family and me are mutual friends. And every so often, us as fellas, it's a bunch of us. We get together and we sit down, smoke cigars, drink, play pool, just chop it up. And that's where the real barbershop talk kind of
Right.
starts to flow around and we just bouncing all kind of conversations that's going on. So this convo that me and Juan are having tonight is nothing new.
Right.
Um, you know, but yeah, Juan, like I really thought about that.
Something you want to explore?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, to each his own. Right. To each his own.
I hear Kim back there. Tell Kim, shh.
she said she gonna pray for you.
I hear Kim back there. I hear you.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, if I was a single man, in that stage of my life, hey, I would probably be because this wasn't my plan. I wasn't
What was
planning
it your plan?
to be married at 25, to have kids. My plan was to have some kids by the time I was 30 and let the chips fall where they may.
I hear it.
I mean,
But see,
I would have taken care of my kids because that's just who I am, right? But nobody's talking to you, right? But here's the thing, right? And here's the thing. Like I said from the beginning, we grew up in church. The Lord takes care of babies and fools. And I ain't been a baby for a long time. Right? I won't go in depth into my story, but like I said, I come from a tumultuous background as a childhood. I didn't even graduate high school on time. I had to go to continuation school to graduate. Right? But I'm now in charge of 51 technicians, right? As a manager of an IT firm, right? One of the biggest ones out there, right? I have two kids who have college degrees, right? And I made the choice to not be like what I seen from the men in my life of disrespecting and doing the women wrong in my life, right? My ace boon coons that I grew up with, that I used to hang out in the clubs and all of that stuff, hated me, bro, when I decided that I was going to get married to Kim. Now, a couple of them grew up with us in the church, right? And they questioned, are you sure that's who you want to be? Hey, bro, this is the decision I
yeah,
made.
because you're breaking up the bro
Yeah,
dynamic.
yeah, right. So there was a falling out there and everything. But I couldn't ask for a better life, bro. I couldn't ask for
Absolutely.
a better life. I couldn't,
Absolutely.
right?
But see, I think, with fat and sweet, with her comment, you have to be able to communicate about anything, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
And, you know, um, like even like with me, I have that conversation because again, like, why would I wait months down the line and be like, spring this on you?
Right.
You
Right.
know, it's having these uncomfortable conversations with the person that you are potentially dating, to give them the opportunity to answer the question themselves,
But
right?
here's the thing, right, Pee Wee? Right? If it's uncomfortable, how comfortable is the relationship?
That's facts. But see, here's the thing. It's not normal. These are not what if I'm talking to you about a polyamorous life. For some folks, that's not normal.
Right. Right.
And so, like, it's kind of like, whoa, right? Unless you meet somebody that is kind of like, they may be like, whoa, but they still may be open. They still may be like, this is interesting. Let me see. So that's where the uncomfortable piece comes, is because it's not normal, you know. Um, and I think a lot of that, when you talk about, um, and we don't talk about it on the show that much, but you talk about politics, you talk about religion, you know, um, these are things that are not, they're normal, but these are the things that kind of make conversations real uncomfortable, is because your point of view may be a little different, and that dynamic may change because of, politics and religion.
Well, let me ask you a question, Pee Wee. Isn't everybody polyamorous until they decide that they want to settle down with one person?
Nah, I think it's a little different. It's a tad bit different. You're out here dating multiple people, but 9 out of 10 times you're not telling the people that you're dating, like, this is who this person is, and all of us is hanging out together. We're all dating at the same exact time. You know this person, she knows you. Everybody knows each other.
Okay. Okay.
That's I think that's where
That, that's
the
the
slight.
different dynamic. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the slight, because if you just out here dating, I'm not telling you it's Samantha over here or Barbara over here. Like, you just know I'm dating and that's all you know. But in my situation, be like, no, it is a Barbara over here. It is a Samantha over here. And we can all go out to eat together. We can all go to the movies together. We can all
Mm,
hang out. You
mm,
guys,
mm,
everybody knows one another.
mm, mm.
I'm not
Okay.
keeping Samantha or
Okay.
Barbara or Becky or whoever it is a
Okay.
secret from you.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Okay. I,
that's
I got it.
yeah, 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 yeah. People don't like to be confronted about what they do wrong, so they'll get defensive. But that's where you have to be able to talk it out and explain why or how you do things. I agree, Fat and Sweet. 100%. I do agree.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great statement, right? Because it goes back to the comment about having uncomfortable conversations. Nobody likes to be called out on what they're doing wrong. That's just a fact, right? Um, but it is what it is, and it may not be wrong to them, but it's wrong to you because this is how you make me feel. I thought
Right.
we were at this level, and that's where it comes down to having those conversations and understanding of where are we? What is this relation? What are we doing? Are we just hooking up, or is it something here
Shout out to my girl Tammy Mack. She tapped in on IG Live. What up, T Mac?
from KJLH?
Yeah, Tammy up in here.
Oh, 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 Tammy Mac got it going on.
Yeah, that's my girl, man.
Oh yeah,
That's my girl. Um, but no, I agree with you, Juan. 100%.
yeah.
But I think a lot of people have a hard time sometimes of being honest with whoever that they're dating or in a relationship. It's
But
hard to be 100% put everything out on the table and be honest.
you know why? Because you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear the true response. Because put yourself in the woman's position, right? We've been hooking up and being together for 3-4 months. In her mind, you guys are kind of like together. And now we have this conversation. And then if he's being 100, hey, we never really talked about being exclusive. I'm doing XYZ. Who wants to hear that?
That's true.
And here's the bigger part, right? If you're the guy and you've been dealing with this girl for 3-4 months, thinking that you're the only one doing XYZ, and then she hits you with, well, no, we never discussed that. I'm still doing my thing. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. What? It hurts us more than it hurts them.
You think? But
My
why do you
perspective.
say that?
My perspective. Don't nobody
As a man, why do you say that?
don't nobody want they lollipop in another man's can, brother. It's just that
But
simple.
doesn't women feel the same exact way?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. But because for the most part, sexual relations is an emotional thing, it takes more precedence when it happens with a woman than it does with a man. For a guy, we hitting it. It just is what it is, right? And that's just We're guys, right? I mean, it just is what it is, right? But for a woman, for a good woman, it takes more than just I want some to get it, right? There has to be some kind of connection. And why are you letting this dude hit? And especially if he's hitting raw. Come on, man. There has to be something there. There has to be some kind of connection there if you let him hit raw.
I'd rather hear what could hurt, but respect him more for being honest.
That's one perspective. I'm sure that if you took a poll of 100 women, they wouldn't have the same thing. They wouldn't have the same. If they were being honest, they wouldn't say the same.
Yeah, I mean, here's the I think on both ends. Um Communication. I think
Mhm.
men, ego, pride plays a huge part with a woman being honest, and we don't want to hear what the real honest truth comes out of their mouth, right? Because of our egos and our pride and everything
Yes,
like that.
very much so.
Um, I wonder on the women's part, what is it? Is it ego? Is it pride for them also, just like a man? Is it different? Like, what are those elements that like women don't want to hear those things?
I can't speak 100% for women, right? But I think in their mind, for the most part, they figure that a nigga's gonna do what he gonna do, right? So it's almost like it's expected, right? Because think about it, Pee Wee. If you dealing with a girl and you come to find out she's dealing with three other dudes that you didn't know about, what's your first thought in your mind about that girl?
Yeah, I'm
She's
good.
she's a what?
Now I ain't gonna say she's like a hoe. I'm not gonna say that. I just be like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
Because me be like, you got two other dudes that you
Right. Right. So like where
I'm
do
not
I
trying to
fit in?
compete.
Like where do I fit in? What
Right, right,
it comes back to the ego thing, right?
right.
But for women, right? They ain't thinking about this dude ego or none of that. That's not so it like you said from the beginning, it's the ego thing, especially for men, it's an ego thing. And it's an ownership type thing. Every dude think they putting it down. I got this. And then you find out that she's doing
You
XYZ.
know, I I say that all the time though, Juan. I mean, we all as men think that we are putting it down, right? And it's just like, and I'm just talking about as a male in the male realm of things.
Mhm.
We think we are, right?
Mhm.
Until like if your woman dealt with another dude, he gonna do something completely different than what you do. And it
Right.
may turn her like she may like that. It's just kind of like a lot of men out here think like I'm the baddest man on the block, right? But there's always a badder dude on the block,
Right. Right.
you know. Um, and I do think that like men's ego sometimes it gets the best of us that we do think like we got it under control. We got this in the bag. And sometimes we really don't.
Right. Right.
We're missing we're missing certain things. We're not paying attention to certain things.
Right.
And I think, you said what? You've been 20 no, 30, almost 31 years working
Hmm.
on 31 years of marriage.
Hmm.
In that 31 years of marriage, you had to continue to date Kim, your wife. You
Hmm.
had to continue to do things in this 31 years to show that you still interested, that you still want this marriage. This is not 31 years of just being, hey, we married and get comfortable and
Right.
sit back because you just assume, as a man's ego, you just assume that everything is good.
Right.
But if sometimes it's not, sometimes you still have to do those things to for your woman, and your woman has to do the same thing for you, of making sure that they're present. Like you
Mhm.
said earlier in the conversation, you come home from work, she see it on your face, being present enough to see that, hey, something's wrong. Let me sit down, talk. Let me be that shoulder he can lean on, at home in his safe place, that he can talk to me,
Right.
type deal. And I think same with men, need to do that with, their woman also, of, you know, being present.
Listen, if you don't make her feel special, somebody's gonna make her feel special. If something is missing and whatever that is, and that's part of what men have to do is figure out continuously because it changes, right? It changes. Um, what continues to make her? I know what make him happy. I know she wants things, and she wants me to surprise her with things. I told her the other day. She just came back in town. I said, you know what? I said, I got a surprise for you coming Friday. She's like, okay, cool. Da, da, da. I said, but you know what? I'm gonna have to stop surprising you with stuff. I said, because you costing me too much money. And she just laughed. But I won't stop doing it because I know that that's what she likes.
Right.
I know what makes her happy, right? So I may not be doing, I might not be checking every box, but I'm checking some boxes.
Right. Right.
And the boxes that I'm not checking, I'm figuring out, okay, what are those boxes that I need to check? Because it's an ongoing process. Now, I'm a simple guy. I'm a t-shirt and jeans type of dude. I don't need Kim likes to go to the mall. Kim likes to go to the outlets and all that. Bro, that ain't me, right? But the other day, she was like, "Oh, you like these shoes?" And it was some shoes that I already had, but they were in a different color, right? She was like, "I think you would be nice. You would look nice in these shoes." I said, "Okay, whatever." I didn't think nothing else of it, right? A couple days later, the shoes are here. She knows what I like. Now, even if I didn't like the color of the shoes, because she got them, because she thought enough about me to get them and think that I would like them, I'm going to wear these shoes and
Right.
outfit or whatever because that's what she wants. It goes back to what I was saying about knowing your partner. It's a always evolving. Nothing is static. If you're with somebody and everything is always the same, you know they like bacon and eggs every morning and it never changes, you're in a stagnant relationship.
I agree.
It's just stagnant. And they know what to expect. They know what time it's gonna happen. They know what time they can meet up with Becky because you're gonna be at XYZ. It makes it easy.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I think, when you look at dating somebody, um, men and women should pay attention to those type of
Yeah.
things. Pay attention to, and again, I mean, again, you're someone that has 31 years underneath a belt of being with someone,
Mhm.
and understanding that you can't, like you just said, being stagnant. You
Mhm.
can't be stagnant for
No,
31 years of being
no,
married,
no,
right?
no.
And I think these are the good conversations to have, you know, male or female, to understand, you know, the things that you need to continue to do if you are dating, if you are in a relationship, is knowing that you constantly have to evolve.
Mhm.
You constantly again, you constantly have to date the person, and do things with the person. Um, and again, I keep saying you have to be present, because if you're not present, you miss a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's because you're thinking like, oh, I got it under control,
Right.
and you're not being present on the things that you are missing.
Right.
And like you said, I know that there's a lot of boxes that I do check off, but there are some boxes that I am missing. But I am making sure that I pay attention and try to find those boxes that I am missing and at least check them off,
Right.
you
Right.
know? Um, and I think that kind of goes back to like conversation too, right? And again, being present, paying attention to the person that you with, you know, um, she buying you shoes and them shoes stay in the closet. Like that kind of, without her saying anything, that kind of hurts.
Right. 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 Right.
Dang, you ain't never wore the shoes I got you, not
Right.
once.
Right. Right.
You know, it's one of those things like paying attention. Like, sometimes you have to do things that you don't want, and I'm talking about relationship,
And that's compromise. That's
right?
compromise. Right. I, what if I didn't like the shoes at all? Right. I still got to wear the shoes because she got them.
Right,
Right. That's a sacrifice that I got to make in order to keep the peace
right.
at the end of the day. Right. Here's another thing. Right. You were talking and everything, and this popped in my mind. You got to do things together as well outside of the home, right? Um, Outside of the box of what you're normally, it's not enough just to go to dinner every month, every couple of weeks on a date. Get away from your environment
Mm-hmm.
with each other. Spend some quality time. If you don't have quality time with the person that you're in a relationship with, how well do you really know them? Right?
No, that's
Um,
true.
yeah, it's important. It's important, and I'm talking about relationships. I'm not talking about just dating somebody, just getting away for a weekend with somebody that you trying to get to know. You can do that anytime. I'm talking about when you are in a relationship with, and it's a mutual relationship, right? Now, if one of them can't go because of whatever reason, I'm sorry about that. For whatever reason, that's a red flag. Why? Whoa.
But see,
And it
here's
needs
the
to be
other
a
thing.
valid reason, right? It needs to be a valid reason. If it's a work project that's happening or going on, that's one thing, right? But if it's uh cousin's birthday, who the cousin?
Right. No, I hear you. But see, here's the other thing though, too. You know, um, a lot of people say like, you know, living with the person, right? You got to live with the person because you may not be compatible living with the person, right?
Okay.
Right. But I also do think, and I agree with you 100%, I equate that to going on a vacation with somebody, especially in a relationship. It's because even though you live with one another, going on a vacation is a whole different ball game
Yes.
on
Yeah.
dealing with somebody outside of the comfort zone of
Right.
of yourselves and doing things. Because again, like you said, you got to go out and do things. You're not just going to go on vacation and sit up in a hotel all the whole entire time. You're going to go out, you're going to do things, planning these things together, going out and actually doing them together. Like you're seeing this person outside of their comfort zone. And I really do think going on a vacation with somebody that you are in a real relationship with is extremely important.
Yeah. 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 I I'm kind of contemplating if I'm going to say this because it's probably going to get me in trouble.
Oh, then don't say it then, because I don't want to get you in trouble.
Uh,
You know what I'm
Something
saying?
that my mom told me when I was coming up, right? Um, and this is for the ladies. If you stand with a man, you should never have to worry about where you lay your head.
That's facts.
That should be the man's responsibility to make sure that you have somewhere to lay your head every night. Now, would there be a need for help for maybe the utilities or things outside of where you land your head? Yes. But you should not, if you land up with a dude, you should not be having to pay rent. Unless that you are in a position to where whatever the situation is with that guy, right? Maybe the job isn't doing what it needs to do and he's working himself to, but yeah, dude, I've never been a guy that made whoever I was with worry about where they laid their head.
I hear you. I hear you. Especially in this day and time that we in right now, man.
Well, yeah, that puts a
It's
different perspective on it,
I
right?
mean,
Yeah.
things are getting really out of control on expenses.
But again, the woman helping out in other aspects of the bills and letting him just deal with the rent is something that can
I
be
hear
done.
you. I hear you.
Um, yeah, that's just me. That's
Right.
just me.
No. I mean, that fits your bill,
Yeah, that's
no
just me.
doubt. No doubt. Um, I know we were talking about like vacation and stuff like that. And I think that that's self-care too at the
Yeah,
same exact time. Is because you need to unplug from the day-to-day grind, um, and do something that's relaxful and stress-free, and that you could just take your mind off of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I know that you had brought this up to me, which I did not know. You are a licensed life insurance specialist.
I am. I am.
Um, and I kind of go back to, in this day and age, we're losing a lot of people at such a young age, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, why do you think it's important for people to have life insurance?
It builds a legacy, right? Especially those for that have young kids. Um, if you don't do anything, well, young kids and people who have any kind of mortgage. Here's the thing, right? Um, God forbid something happens to you and you pass away and you have a mortgage. If whomever is on that mortgage with you or whoever you pass it down to doesn't have the ability to pay that mortgage, it goes back to the bank,
Right.
right? At the very least, have a term life insurance policy that is the same amount as your mortgage, so that if something happens to you, the mortgage gets paid off. And then you pass it down to whomever you pass it down to, and it's free and clear. The good thing about my policies that I give out, they come with living benefits, which means if you lose two of the six faculties, feeding yourself, uh, getting around for yourself, getting out of bed, things like that. If you have a chronic diagnosis or a chronic illness, which the doctor says you only have 18 months or less to live, or Alzheimer's, you get 85% of your face value, and it's not a loan, right?
Hmm.
So you get that face amount of value, so you can live a quality of life for the time that you have, right? I do final expenses. I do pre-need expenses, right? Pre-need expenses and final expenses are different. Pre-need means you're planning for your funeral. Here's what I want to happen. Here's how I want it to happen. Blah 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 blah. Final expenses is your plot, right? Because your pre-need doesn't take care of your plot. You can have a funeral and all you want, and then don't have nowhere for your body to go,
Right.
right? So your final expenses has to deal with your plot and taking care of that. I deal with, like I said, terminal expenses. I deal with whole life expenses or insurance policies, which means you put into the policy and you can get dividends from that policy after a certain period of time. My term policies also convert to whole policies after a 10-year period or within a 10-year period, right? So if anybody has any questions, and if you just want to know what your policy actually offers you, get in contact with me. I'll have that consultation with you free of charge. There's no obligation to do anything. Take care of your family. If you want to talk about a trust, if you want to talk about a living trust, because what happens is what you really need to do is get you a term policy that the beneficiary is the trust. The trust is either your kids or family members or what have you. When you put your property, if you own property, into the trust, the government can't do anything with it. It's with the trust, right? You won't go to probate or none of that. I got a situation with our family right now that's in the probate, and we
And
got
that's the worst.
we got 12 to 15 people arguing over a property that they never even set foot in, right? So
I mean,
it's
that is the worst of going through probate, because one, I do know it's a lot of money that you
mm-hmm,
got to put up
mm-hmm,
to fight the battle,
mm-hmm.
through probate. You don't see that money back,
No,
and to make it easier on yourself, 100%, um, get that living trust. And it's funny that you say this, Juan. I have I just had this conversation maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago with older gentleman.
mm-hmm,
I mean, like, he's you know retired, all of that. Never thought about a will. Never thought about living trust, and
mm-hmm.
literally just finally just did it. Is But just imagine if he would have did that stuff
Right,
a long time ago,
right,
right? But thankful that it is done now, so that, like, again, when it trickles down to whoever he trickles it down to, that they don't have to go through the probate, they don't have to go through the headache and all that other stuff. You know what I mean?
right.
And I think it is important because, you know, I don't know about everybody that's in the chat. If you watch it on YouTube, IG Live, or Twitch, like your parents, think about your parents. Does your parents have these things in order, that a life insurance or a will and living trust? Those are like three main things that, like, honestly, they should have, if they are getting older, to make sure that when they if they and when they do pass away, that it makes it easier on you.
Right.
Because when we all know, when someone passes away, there's a lot of headache that goes on with it.
Very
And
much
it's
so.
not on purpose, but this is just the way it is. Dealing with the funeral, getting the funeral together, contacting people, paying for this, the funeral, everything that you're just saying,
Yeah.
you know.
And especially those that have young kids, right? Think about this, right? Um, you can probably get a whole life insurance for, let's say you have kids that are 10 years and younger. You can probably get a whole life insurance for $100,000, which is probably somewhere around $30 a month, right? When they turn 25, they can probably borrow from that whole life insurance $30,000 to put down on the house
Mm.
to start their life at the age of 25. If you get them in a 529 plan for a college fund, they can use that money to go to college if they don't get a scholarship. Even if they do get a scholarship, they can pull that money out, and that's just money in their pocket. You have to realize, really, how the other folk
I knew that's what you was about to say. It's okay.
use
You can say it, Juan.
how the white people use
Yeah.
insurance to take advantage of the system. We have to start doing the same. I also deal with annuities. If you have a 401k that's sitting out there right now, that 401k is going in the drain because of Trump and his stock market. Your 401k is dependent on the stock market. If you go with an annuity, it's at a level rate. You cannot lose with an annuity. We can roll it over to an annuity. Your rate will stay the same. And in most cases, you will gain 2 to 3% every year if the stock market crashes. Get in touch with me. J2K2enterprises.com is
Can you put it in the chat, Juan?
yeah, yeah.
Put it in the chat.
I'm gonna do it right now. Let me see what they if it allowed me to do it.
It should let you. Should let you do it. If it doesn't, go to the
No,
private
I'm
chat.
there. I'm there.
Okay. I was gonna say you can go to the private chat, put it in there, and I can copy and paste it. But I think though everyone that is paying attention and tapped into the show tonight, I think it is important. I think these are the things that you honestly should do for yourself, for your family members, even if you know friends that may need this assistance. Again, he's putting the information in the chat. Have them reach out, man, because in this day and age, again, and I'm not trying to bring, the try to bring the temperature down in this conversation, but we got to look out for ourselves, and make sure that we have these things, put in place.
You're gonna have to post it because it
Yeah,
wouldn't
here
allow
we
me.
go. All right, so I'm putting it in the chat right now. This is uh the website for Juan. Let me put this in too.
So yeah, again, this is a free consultation. There's no obligation to do anything. Here's my motto, right? I'll present you the numbers. It's up to you if you want to deal with it or not. It's not going to hurt me one way or the other. Either you're going to end
Right.
up, either you're going to end up with a GoFundMe or car washes, or you're going to
I
take
think
care of yourself.
again, I think it's important for folks to soak this information in.
Yeah,
Um, because at the end of the day, man, we are not promised tomorrow.
no, not.
That is the one thing we are not promised.
Here's the thing, right? And here's what a lot of people are skeptical of because of the car insurance kind of like scam, right? You sit up here and you pay car insurance for years and years and years. You never have an accident or whatever. Where does all this money go? With life insurance, it's different. It's different. Depending on the policy you get, that money is returned to you or to your beneficiary or your loved one. Take care of your kids. If you don't do nothing else, take care of your kids. I'll give you an example. My son is 27 years old. And a lot of this is dependent. Everybody's situation is different. It depends on your medical conditions and things like that. Medical condition. I got him a $500,000 term life policy for $35 a month with living benefits.
Yeah.
So if you can spend $50 a month on your weed,
I'm saying,
you can spend $35 on to take care of your
take
kids.
care of yourself or
Come on.
take care of your kids. No
Yeah.
doubt about it.
I mean,
But here's the deal, though, Juan. And on confessions, we've talked about this before. Um, us as Black people growing up, we were never given this information,
no.
right? We've talked about this before on the show. We've never been given this information.
Right.
And so, like you said, we are skeptical,
Mhm.
when this information does come because We don't know about it.
Right.
Compared to other races, this is the normal for them.
Right.
You
Right.
know, this is the conversation that they've had for years. So it's normal for them. So once they get the opportunity, they do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, we wait to the last minute to do stuff.
Right.
And instead of waiting to the last minute, um, I mean, you have someone in Juan that says, "Hey, I'll give you a free consultation. All you got to do is tap in with me. I can give you everything that you need to know. Then you can make the decision yourself."
There it is.
You know, but I think it is important to have the conversation. And I think that's other issue that we have with us as Black people. We don't want to talk.
Right.
We
Right.
want to keep it all to ourselves. If we know it, keep it all to ourselves. We don't want to tell nobody, you
Right.
know. But this is a situation that we got to start having these conversations. We
Yes, sir.
got to start talking to one another,
Yes, sir.
you know.
It's
Uh,
very important. It's very important, right? Just think about it, right? How many times do you see GoFundMe posts or people on the street, saying that they need to raise money for XYZ? You never know what's going to happen. You just never know, right? How many people have had to deal with having to put a loved one into a home or something because, and then had to come out of pocket for it because they
mhm.
didn't have the right things in place. I have all kind of I can help anyone with any situation, even if you have a medical condition. I have policies that will insure you with your medical conditions. Maybe a little bit higher, but we can get it done.
So I just tell everybody, on the show, please take advantage of this situation, because this is a situation where, again, we're not promised. No one is promised the next day. And just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So self care is extremely important. We're talking about going on vacation and doing things. This is the self care stuff that you need to start doing if you are able to.
Right,
You may not be able to go, on a 7-day vacation, but maybe a staycation. Maybe you can do a weekend and just detach from the world, you know. Go to Palms. I mean, here, if you live here in California, I know we have people that live across the United States. But like California, we have like just take a trip up to Santa Barbara, spend the weekend in Santa Barbara, get away, Palm Springs, get away, San Diego, get away, San Francisco. I mean, these are, you know, less than 5-hour drives, along the coastline that you can just get away out of your norm and just have a staycation. If it's a day, if it's 2 days, if it's just a weekend, we have to take care of ourselves. Our health is extremely important, especially when it comes down to food. We know here in the United States, food is killing us.
yeah,
You know, um, with all the stuff. I mean, we have to pay attention to this type of stuff. I mean, and I just had this conversation with my little one the other day. We consume food, we consume whatever, right? Until it gets bad, that's when our body reacts to it.
right,
That's when we know something is wrong
right,
because it's really bad. Now our body has to react to it. But just imagine over a period of time, you can't see the inside. You can't see what's going on in inside, the things that you're putting into your body and stuff like that. And it takes maybe 10, 15, 20 years to start affecting you.
right.
So we have to pay attention to these things as we get older. You know, that's just my two piece. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
I get you. But let me say this to you, to the audience as well. Whatever you need, I got somebody for you. You need a travel agent. You need a hairdresser. You, I got everything you need. I'm telling you. I got everything you need. You need a short haircut. You need somebody to deal with long hair. Uh, I got it all. My family is
Yes.
very abundant in doing things. You need somebody to do
Well
some
versed.
party planning. Whatever you need, contact me. I'll put you in touch with somebody who will take care of whatever your needs are.
Well versed, no doubt about it. All right, ladies and gents, we're gonna get up out of here, man. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's conversation. Truly appreciate you guys tapping in tonight and joining us. Even if you was on YouTube, IG Live, or Twitch, thank you guys, man. Please like, follow, share Officially Confessions on all social media platforms. Again, Juan's, I'm going to put it in here again. If you want to contact Juan with any services, I'm put it in here again.
Put the phone number too, just in case they want to call.
What is it?
888 761 4898.
So you got website and phone number that you can get hold of Juan. Please take advantage of it, ladies and gents. Again, on YouTube, this joint goes up. So if you need to follow back and get this information or send it to anybody, it is there on YouTube. Twitch, it is there for 14 days, then they take it off of Twitch. All right. So this will be up for 14 days on Twitch, then it goes away. YouTube, you can always find it. Officially Confessions. Search Officially Confessions on YouTube, and you can find this episode of Confessions. Any last words, Juan, before we get up out of here?
No, I'm good, man. I thank you. I appreciate giving me the opportunity. I hope that I've helped somebody, right? As I said from the beginning, I'm no professional, just giving you my perspective on things. And I'm hoping that something I said will help somebody.
Yeah, and I'm with you there, Juan. This won't be the first or the last time you on Confessions, man. So I truly appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, man.
All right, ladies and gents, you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll see you back here on Saturday. Hopefully Doc is going to be with us, but if not, Confessions is going to rock and roll no matter what, man. All right. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week. We'll see y'all in a minute. All right. Peace.
All right, baby. Take care.
All right, Juan.